Good afternoon everybody. I'm on the Isle of Cumbrae today. I've just got the ferry across the water. It took about 10 minutes. It was a bit chilly because there's a wind blowing. But I'm going to do a wee trek along the coast here, so come and join me. So the route I'm taking today is just along the coast from where the ferry terminal is. It heads into Millport. So maybe if I'm wee nosy about Millport. Millport's a town, by the way, on this island, the only town. Now there are several options in the walks I can do about here. First option is to go all the way around the island. I think that's a total distance of about 12 miles. So I don't think I'm going to do 12 miles today, so I'll probably exclude that option. The next option is to come back along this same coast but on the inland route, which is mostly flat. I think that's about just over 6 miles, that total route. The other option is to head up to the viewing point at the peak of the island. And that's also about 6.5 miles, but obviously a bit more tiring because you're going uphill. So what I'm going to do is see how I feel once I get to Millport, see how much energy I've got, and I'll decide there. Across the water is Largs. So I just got the train to Largs, then the ferry. It's quite a short journey. And despite the grey skies, it's quite a pleasant day. It's not too warm. It's not particularly cold when you're not catching the coastal wind. So it's a good day for a walk. I won't get too sweaty. And that suits me just fine. I could have got the bus into town, but it's only about 3 miles to walk along this coast into the town. And the town itself is tiny, so probably about a mile from end to end. So I'm just going to walk in, take it easy. There's the ferry heading back across to Largs. But I'm sure there'll be another big queue waiting to go on. There's quite a lot of people coming here today. I actually thought it'd be quiet because it's a Thursday. Nope, very busy. Imagine what it'd be like in a scorching hot day at the weekend during the summer. So this fork in the road gives me a choice: go inland to Millport or follow the coast to Millport. The third option being you can reach the peak of the island up there, but I can also reach the peak of the island from Millport. So let's take this route. Until about, I think maybe 10 years ago, I'd only came to this island once in my life, which is kind of ridiculous because it isn't that far away from where I've always lived on the west coast of Scotland. I came, must have been 1991, I came here on a school trip and we hired bikes and cycled around the island, and that was the only time I'd been. I've got no idea why I never came back until about 10 years ago. And then I've been once a year for the past few years, just for a relaxing wander about. You know, I say it's so easily accessible. You've got countryside, you've got hills, you've got views. Honestly, I don't know why I left it so long. Did you catch that mum singing to her baby? It's getting wheeled around on the back of the bike. The wheels of the bus go round and round, just in case you didn't know. Oh, hello. That looks like the Waverley paddle steamer. I'd quite like to go in that. I've heard it can get a bit rowdy during the summer though, when everybody's on it getting severely drunk. So the paddle steamer pulls into different ports throughout the year. But if it's heading up in that direction, I'm assuming it's going to Glasgow. So that's how you'll probably get quite a few drunk people on it. Treat it as a day out, knock back the beers, and it's party time. Now, if I knock back the beers, I would knock back one, maybe two, and it'd be sleepy time. So, I'm not as young as I used to be, but I still like to go on that paddle steamer, have a couple of drinks, take in the scenery down the coast. You've got to watch out for the cars on this road. There's not many of them, and they do make an effort to keep out your way. Just keep your ears open. Don't go stuffing your headphones in and not hearing anything that's coming. So many people do that. They're usually young. Obviously nobody's taught them the correct way to walk in a country road. I was always taught to walk facing the oncoming traffic, which I'm not exactly doing right now, but still, at least I'm not deaf and I can hear what's coming. Yeah, so a family cycled past me there, all speaking Italian. It's the last place I would have thought some Italians would have visited, but there you go. Obviously the west coast of Scotland holds some charms for visitors. And if I'm being honest, the west coast of Scotland is substantially prettier than the east coast of Scotland, which is just dull. You know, on the west coast you've got all these islands and craggy shores, just brilliant scenery. You just don't get that in the East Coast. I mean, it's nice, don't get me wrong, but it's not a patch on the West Coast. That's why when you see people visiting Scotland, they're heading to Skye, you know, all these places on the West Coast. Maybe islands like this aren't as popular because they're to the southwest, but they should be. Well, if you go to places like Arran, it's just absolutely stunning. You know, that place is called Scotland in miniature because it's got a lowland half and a mountainous half. You know, it's quite spectacular. And the bus kept out of the way. But yeah, so definitely visit the west coast of Scotland. It's the nicest part. I mean, city-wise, obviously Edinburgh is kind of the tourist attraction, and you can't top it. It is a beautiful city, if a bit touristy. But for scenery, West Coast wins hands down. It's not even close. I'm going to try and pick up the pace because I've been moving too slow. Pausing and looking at the scenery, which I suppose you should. You've got to enjoy it. But I want to get around the island in no more than 2.5 hours. And I'm probably already about an hour in and I'm not even in Millport yet. So I'm going to start walking fast and video less until I get to Millport. Can take a wee seat there and just stare out at the water. If you can see past the bushes. That's me just past many Asian tourists cycling around the island. So that's Italians, Asians. You know, I wonder who else we'll encounter. I'm feeling annoyed because I've just lost my spare lens cap for my camera. I lost one a few weeks ago in Fairlie. I've just lost another one today. They just don't attach very well to the lens. So I'm tempted to go into Millport, so I'm just entering, wander about there and come back the same route, see if I can spot it. Or do I just let it go? I'm undecided. I am now in Millport. Yay.
Hello.
Hello. That's me started to reach the houses of the town of Millport. It isn't big, but when you look at it winding round the coast, it looks quite a long distance, but it's not really. It's probably about a mile and a half from where I'm just now, right round to the end. Have a look. Looks like somebody forgot to put out their salt tyre. Could walk along the rocky shore, but I'll take the easy option and stick to the pavement. couple of years ago I came here in early spring and it was grey, raining, miserable. Nothing was open, nobody was here. It's amazing what the sun can do to change the fortunes of a place. It's actually a pleasant walk today.
Only Monday.
I literally thought we'd get off the pier.
Yeah.
Like you do in Russell.
That's right.
I knew it wasn't this, but I thought we were going
This is just a lovely little bay to sit and take in the day. Sit here and relax, enjoy the view. That'll be the island of Little Cumbria, just the nearest one there. And in between the edge of this island over to the right, behind that is the Isle of Arran. With the mountain peaks reaching into the clouds. Probably looks tiny on camera, but oh, what a view. Imagine having one of these houses that are just looking out across this bay. Absolutely spectacular. And as I always say, if you're a rich benefactor, you can feel free to donate one of these houses to me. I'll take any of them. In fact, I'll even take a caravan. I'm sure there must be many benefactors amongst my 60 subscribers.
The last one here is buying the drink.
No, I think the advanced party where you take it up there.
I look at a gorgeous daylight today and I wonder why there's not more people here. I've just walked around to the other side of that bay. It's very, very nice, isn't it? You know, I saw the Scottish comedian Limmy talking about this place when he came to it when he was a rowdy young teenager. And he got into a bit of bother. But he was shown this big fancy building, I think it was called the Barony. I don't recall ever seeing it in the times I've came here. Maybe I've just not been paying attention. Anyway, he got into bother, getting a bit drunk near it, which obviously I would never do. But you can't trust these weegies, they're not like good Paisley folk. You know, I think that's the place that Limmy was talking about. It's obviously getting a bit of work done. He's telling an, well, maybe not an amusing story, a disturbing story about here, in that pub, in that bus shelter. This is a family friendly channel, so I won't repeat it. Go to his channel if you want to hear the story. Yeah, the fancy building's called Garrison House, not the Barony or Baron House, whatever I called it. There'll be a seagull watching over the fallen heroes. It isn't a true tourist spot unless it has a distillers. A nice summer's day and the cafe's closed. That's me made it into Millport. Walked the length of it. There's not much to see, one big street. So I'm going to head all the way back. I'm not going to film it all the way back, because I'm going to head back the same road I came and see if I can find the lens cap to my camera. I don't think I'll get any chance of finding it. Garrison House. I believe it was some wealthy families that used to come here a century ago. This was a holiday retreat. Come and live there. Absolutely no clue where it is now. A visitor centre maybe. Right, well I'm going to sit here for a wee while, drinking my water, taking in the sea air and taking a break before I start the walk back to the ferry. So I hope you've enjoyed your wee trip to Millport and a walk around the east coast of the island. We'll probably come back another day and go around the longer west coast and go up to the summit again, but not today. It's getting quite warm now, so I'm flagging a bit. That's the price of getting old, getting knackered. So I'm away now. Cheerio.